Hey everyone, VortexTCG here, and today I've got the final game of Locals where I am playing Diaboromon and my opponent is going to be playing, I think it's ShinMonzaemon, I believe it is, which is one of the newer decks coming out of RB01. It's nice to actually showcase something from RB01 here, but yeah, if you're looking forward to this gameplay video, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It is greatly appreciated, and I play an Izzy here and I get a green Digimon, which says enough for me. Don't gain the memory back, which is very, very unfortunate, but hey, that's how it is, unfortunately. So, opponent's thinking about promoting here, but he decides not to. He hits the on-deletion effect of the... I can't even remember what this guy's called. The one that essentially deletes one of the guys, essentially. So, let me... and then he plays another one out here, which is, yeah, I mean, this is what the deck wants to do. Get some searches going, and yeah, you got to take those advantages what you can. I go into the, bloody hell, Mumemon here, which doesn't net me a tamer, unfortunately, but hey, it's better than nothing, I guess. It allows me to sort out my security, which is going to be very nice going in the future. I just remember the name, it's ShinMonzaemon, but he promotes the Agumon and gains a memory here, and this Agumon and the Gabumon are both really good in my opinion. He goes Cooties Kick, swings, it dies, gains 2 memory, and then gets to reveal the top 3, gets to add 1, he gets to add the Monzaemon, which is the new RB01 one, which is very, very nice. And now it's just a case of how does my opponent want to play out this turn. He's got quite a lot of memory here, so he's able to do quite a bit in this, I believe. So he plays, I think this is the Nanemon, I believe it is. This is the one that has a security effect that allows himself to play him out. He goes into the Monzaemon, which allows him to reduce the cost and give one security attack -1, which is very unfortunate, but hey, is what it is. Then here I am going to go into, I think the problem is that I don't have a tamer out, and this is one of the things that are problematic with this deck. If you don't have a tamer, you ain't going to be able to get the tokens out as easily, so it just feels a bit bad in those situations, but I decided to go into the Quartzmon and gain some memory back. So yeah, it's not bad in this situation, but the Quartzmon essentially becomes a huge target essentially for this deck. So he goes into the Diaboromon here, I believe that's what it's called, which is just a nice cheap Digi-evolution, which is nice for this deck, I believe. He's just checking his discard. He then plays another Monzaemon out to give the Quartzmon a security attack -1, but I'm still able to trash security with its effect, and I can also suspend the Monzaemon as well, stopping it from being a blocker, I believe it is, because I believe the ShinMonzaemon gives it inherited blocker, so that's going to be good for me, for sure. But I don't think my opponent would want to block it anyways, because I'm just going to be trashing one anyways. So I play an errata here and then swing. I get to suspend one and then trash one of the security, because there are 5 suspended guys, which is nice. And then I play another errata to pass the turn, and the good thing about errata here is that it's just building up advantage slowly. I know like getting just the set to 3 memory is very nice, but when you're able to just get a +1 memory on whatever your opponent does essentially is also very nice in its own way as well. So he plays Parabolic Kick, I believe this is, Parabolic Junk, which allows him to gain 2 memory if it dies, but it doesn't die, it hits a black memory boost, then goes into the 1-cost ShinMonzaemon. Love that art, by the way, it's such a beautiful piece of art. And then he goes into the Defex, which de-digivolves the Quartzmon here, which is very, very unfortunate, but hey, I was expecting an answer, and that's the answer that I expect. So here I'm just checking everything, and then it goes to my turn. Gets to draw. I'm thinking about promotion here, and I do decide to promote, which I think it just makes sense here in my opinion, because I kind of want to apply as much pressure, because if I don't do enough this turn, he's going to be able to swing at security and do a bunch more essentially. But I go into the Mercurymon here just because it's the only level 4 I have in my hand, and of course I immediately draw the other level 4, which is the Rush one, which would definitely help in this situation. I hit an errata here, which is very, very important because now I'm essentially able to get 3 blockers instead of the 2 that I would have previously, so very, very important for me. So now I think I'm just considering what I want to do here, and this is one of the defining factors of this game, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I didn't have the level 4 Kurisarimon in my hand, but if I did, I would have been in such a better position because I could probably threaten lethal here because I can go into the security attack Diaboromon, swing, and then swing for game, but it's not adding up, unfortunately. And I think I messed up my stacks here a little bit. I think if I was to go into the stack and then put the security attack +1 Diaboromon instead, I think I would have been in a better position here. But now it doesn't really matter because essentially I need to start clearing some guys on the field, because if I don't, then there's going to be some problems. So I go into another blocker Diaboromon here. I don't think my opponent can get rid of 2 of these blocker ones, which is going to be very, very important. I'm sure he can get rid of 1, but I don't think he can get rid of 2, especially as I'm going to be able to lower his memory quite a bit here, because I'm going to be using, well, I'll go to 2 here from the Kurisari Inheritable, gain 1 memory for each one that when you play one. But I think I'm supposed to actually gain another additional memory here because I digivolved into a Diaboromon, so I think that's how it works. I'm not 100% sure, let me know, but yeah, so I'm just clearing the board out here, and I've got 3 blockers for the following turn essentially, so it's just a case of how I want to pass the turn here. The main thing I want to do here is pretty much delete, well, put like a low level guy down. The problem is that I think the only lower level guy that I have is a level 4, so here I find myself in a pretty decent option situation here where I could play the Black Memory Boost to gain 2 memory and then play this and pass him with 1. So he'll go to 2 from the Agumon, which is going to be beneficial from him, but I don't think he has enough memory to essentially deal with this board at this point. But who knows? I don't really know much about the ShinMonzaemon matchup, as it turns out, so maybe there are some things that can definitely go in my opponent's favor here. It's looking like he has Quartzmon in his hand himself, which is a bit worried, but I think the issue is that he just can't find a level 6, or if he goes into a level 6, he just doesn't win because it doesn't threaten anything, unfortunately, for him. So it's just a case of is he going to be able to find the pieces that he needs. So he goes into the Gerrymon, which allows him to trash 1 and draw 2. And then I then gain a bunch of memory from the erratas, get to unsuspend, and at this point it's just a case of will one of my Diaboromons survive, because I have 4 swings here. If one of the Diaboromons survives, I can go into, for example, the Armageddonmon and swing for game. So it's just a case of anything bad is in security. First swing is a Gerrymon, second swing is a Cooties Kick, which allows him to look at the top 3 and then add 1, I believe, or he gets to play 1. Then he swings again, hits another Cooties Kick, which is very, very unfortunate because if any of these had blocker, it could definitely be bad. But they are surviving, so I feel good in this situation. Swing again, and then I go Armageddon for game. Now we're in game 2, and I get to start here. My opponent's forced me to go first, which is very, very interesting in my opinion. I then go into the Keramon, and I cannot believe this when I saw this in game. We were just like, there is no way. But we hit an errata, so we feel good about that for sure. But I don't know what the odds are in that. I can't believe it. I'm a little bit chuffed I actually caught that on camera, because it's just like, how does that happen? But it did happen, which is crazy to me. So he passed the turn by playing tie, which means that I've got a pretty good opening here in my opinion. Don't think my opponent has much here, so I'm just going to be applying a lot of pressure early on. Swing hits a Chimeramon, but I get the draw from the, I believe this, the egg, which is very nice. The Keramon survives here, which is quite huge because my opponent doesn't have a follow-up to that, and that just means I get additional security swing this next turn, and that is very, very strong on my part because It just means that my opponent is on a bigger clock than he was once before. So I go for another rookie here and then pass the turn. He then gets to go on his turn, gets to play the Diaboromon, which allows to trash 1 to draw 2. Which is going to be very nice. Goes into the Agumon. He forgets to draw here, but I'm just letting him know, like, draw, mate. It's all good. But he's on the back foot here, surely. So it's just a case of what can he do? So he goes into the RB01 here, which is pretty decent, but I think he's trying to get to a level 6, but I don't think it's going to matter that much, unfortunately. So I swing again, hits a Diaboromon, the winner's one. Swing again, hits a Monzaemon here. And at this case, it's just a case of, can my opponent do a lot on this turn? And I've deleted all my Digimon, so he doesn't gain the additional memory from the Agumon, which will definitely slow my opponent down. So at this point, it's just a case of, can he protect himself from 2 swings? Because I've got 1 swing currently. He goes Parabolic Junk, swings, hits something, gains 2 memory back. So he's got a lot of memory now. It's just a case of, will he be able to do anything? He goes into the Diaboromon, allows him to trash 1 to draw 2. And then he will, I believe, well, he doesn't have much memory left. He's on 2. So it's a bit difficult for him for sure. It's just a case of, you know, what can he do? But he does have the Monzaemon in his hand. Maybe the line of play there was to just play the Monzaemon, because then he has a blocker, because he has the Numemon in the trash. But he decides to go for a different play, and he goes for the Shadow Seraphimon. And at this point, I feel like I've just got game completely, because there's not really any big threat. So I draw, I promote, I swing, and then I use the hybrid that I have in hand for game.